I remember just looking in the mirror and I was asking if I could retire now at 24, doing the thing I love. For me, that was heartbreaking.
Before Foden, Saka and Palmer, there was a distant English prodigy who couldn't be compared to anyone his age. There was a time when Dele Alli looked like he could become one of England's all-time greats. A teenager with an electrifying mix of flair, confidence and footballing IQ, Alli burst onto the scene and immediately turned heads across Europe. He wasn't just great, he was a unique game changer. But fast forward a few years, and the same player who once nutmegged Luka Modric, who scored screamers against Chelsea and Arsenal, who was a mainstay in England's midfield, is now almost entirely absent from the conversation. So what happened? How does a player go from being the golden boy of English football to an afterthought? The fall of Dele Alli isn't a story for the faint-hearted. It's a cautionary tale wrapped up in hype, pressure, mental battles, and perhaps even some mismanagement. To understand it, we need to rewind to where it all began. Dele Alli's journey started at MK Dons, where he made his debut as a 16-year-old and quickly became a key figure in the midfield. His natural ease on the ball, along with intelligence well beyond his age, made him stand out in League One. By the time Tottenham signed him in 2015 for just £5 million, he already looked like a bargain. In his debut Premier League season under Pochettino, Alli didn't need any time to adjust. He scored 10 goals in the league and provided 8 assists in 2015-16. Unsurprisingly, he was named the PFA Young Player of the Year. In his second season at Spurs, he had 22 goals across all competitions as a midfielder. Alli played like a man who didn't just believe he belonged, he played like he owned the pitch. He became a key part of a young, hungry Spurs side that included Kane and Heung-min Son. They weren't only fun to watch, but they were a genuine threat to the established elite. At the heart of it all was Dele. He ghosted into the box at the perfect moment, finished with composure beyond his years, and carried a swagger that made him unmissable. Between 2015 and 2018, Dele Alli was among the best attacking midfielders in Europe. He was consistently delivering goals and assists while playing a unique hybrid role. Not quite a 10, not quite a striker, almost a second striker at times, but always available in the build-up. This unique skill set made him immensely valuable and extremely hard to mark. He hit double figures for goals in the league in 3 consecutive seasons and was involved in 60+ goal contributions across the 2016-17 and 2017-18 campaigns. He wasn't just a young talent at this point, he was already world class, and this was before he even turned 22. The fact that he played for Tottenham naturally kept his stock lower than reality, but even then, he was getting generational shouts from rivals. He was even compared to the likes of Lampard, Scholes and Gerrard, even though his playing style was completely different. What they all shared was the ability to pop up in key moments, and Dele showed that every other week. Internationally, he played a key role in England's 2018 World Cup run. He scored a vital header against Sweden in the quarterfinals, helping them reach their first semi-final since 1990. Everything suggested that Alli was destined to be at the heart of English football for the next decade. But after the World Cup, something started to shift. His form dipped, his influence wavered. Critics pointed to his off-the-pitch focus, fashion endorsements, and occasional disciplinary lapses. But the problem seemed more tactical and mental than physical at first. But in late 2019, still reeling from a heartbreaking Champions League final defeat and a sluggish start to the new season, Tottenham showed him the door. That moment arguably marked the beginning of Dele's decline. Pochettino had built a system where Alli thrived. His role was free, dynamic, and protected by tireless midfielders behind him. Once that changed, Alli looked unsure of himself. He also started suffering from recurring hamstring injuries, which further disrupted his rhythm. Slowly, he began to fall out of the starting 11, and the headlines shifted from praising his brilliance to asking where he had gone. Then came Jose Mourinho, and with Mourinho came the now infamous scene from the All or Nothing documentary. Sitting across from a slouched Dele Alli, Mourinho bluntly told him,
"I am 56 now. and yesterday I was 20. Time flies. And I think one day, I think you will regret if you don't reach what you can reach.
It was a powerful moment, one that in hindsight perhaps foreshadowed what was coming. Mourinho wanted to reignite the fire in Alli, but the relationship didn't quite click. Imagine being warned by one of football's sharpest minds that you might waste your talent and then seeing that warning come true. Despite flashes of brilliance, Dele's form dipped. He was dropped for long periods and rumours of a move away from Spurs grew louder. Mourinho's tough love was meant to push Dele to fulfill his potential, but the midfielder struggled to find his best form and even admitted later that he considered retiring at just 24. The public criticism from Mourinho, paired with injuries and diminishing confidence, pushed Alli further into the background. By 2021, he was no longer part of Spurs' long-term plans. It was a steep, almost shocking fall for someone once regarded as untouchable. In January 2022, he joined Everton on a free transfer, with potential add-ons worth up to £40 million based on performance. It seemed like a second chance, a fresh start under Frank Lampard, but it didn't work out. Alli failed to cement his starting role, looking off the pace in his rare appearances, and was loaned out to Besiktas by the end of the year. In Turkey, he had a few flashes of quality, but eventually fell out of favour again. Once again, questions were being raised about motivation, desire, and whether the fire was still burning inside him. By mid-2023, he was back in England, injured and without a clear future in football. But what followed next wasn't another football twist. It was a deeply personal one. In July 2023, Dele Alli sat down for an interview with Gary Neville on The Overlap. Alli spoke candidly and painfully about childhood trauma, abuse, and struggles with addiction and mental health.
At 6, I was by my mum's friend who was at the house a lot.
It was the first time fans truly saw beyond the headlines and the flashy goals. This was a young man who had carried immense pain silently, even during the years when he was supposedly on top of the world. The interview wasn't just emotional, it was truly eye-opening to how he was suffering. The drop in form, the perceived lack of discipline, it all seemed far less black and white after hearing his story. Fans who had written Dele off began to reconsider. Maybe it wasn't laziness, maybe it wasn't arrogance, maybe it was a young man crumbling under the weight of personal trauma and professional pressure, too scared or too proud to ask for help. Dele's decision to go to rehab wasn't a media stunt. It was a genuine attempt to reclaim control over his life. His honesty sparked broader conversations about mental health in football, especially among young players thrust into the spotlight early. He made it clear he still wanted to return to the pitch and do it on his own terms.
Right now, it's just about getting back on the pitch and showing him what I can do.
The hunger hadn't disappeared, it had simply gotten buried under layers of pain and confusion. Dele Alli's case isn't an isolated one. Football history is littered with players who rose fast and fell faster. Talent alone doesn't always guarantee longevity. The environment, timing, support systems, and luck play huge roles in football. And without proper guidance or luck, even the brightest talents can fade. Dele Alli's story isn't finished though. Players have reinvented themselves even later. Modric didn't become a Ballon d'Or contender until his early 30s. De Bruyne had to leave Chelsea and rebuild in Germany before becoming world class. If Dele can stay fit, find the right environment, and most importantly, stay mentally strong, there's no reason he can't play meaningful football again. Maybe not at Tottenham or in the Premier League, maybe not even in Europe, but football has room for comebacks. His openness about mental health has earned him a lot of respect from fans across the globe. It's also brought him something rare in football: time and goodwill. Fans aren't judging him harshly anymore. They're genuinely hoping he just makes it back, because everyone loves a comeback. As we look at today's wonder kids with the likes of Bellingham, Yamal and Pedri, it's impossible not to see Dele Alli's story as a warning. Every misstep is magnified. Every bad game is a headline. Clubs, agents, and federations need to think long term, protect the player, not just the product, because talent can shine bright, but it can also burn out. Dele's story is complicated. He went from being one of England's brightest young stars to a player fighting to reclaim not just his career, but his life. Was it his fault? Was it the managers, the media, his past? Maybe it's a bit of everything. But he's still here, still fighting, still hoping to play again. And maybe that's the most important thing. Because football can be cruel at times, but it's also full of second chances. What do you think? Is there still a road back for Dele Alli, or has his time in football already passed? Let us know below.